3, 2, 1. Good.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch haba. Welcome. Boker Tov. Good morning. Almost Chatzorim Tovim. Almost good afternoon.
Buenos días, bienvenidos. Casi es la tarde.
We're going to have to practice our Spanish.
Vamos a enseñar el español.
Takes us a little longer than the English does.
Y le pido disculpa que nos tarda un poco.
Just a couple of announcements for you.
Algunos anuncios.
We will be having Shabbat services. So even if I post them or don't post them, we will be having the Shabbat services.
Aunque se me olvide ponerlo en el Facebook, sí vamos a seguir teniendo los servicios de Shabbat.
If I'm not able to make it, Josh will be here, and so just understand Miss Wilma will be here, even if I'm not able to make it. So understand that we will be having Shabbat services. You know,
Aún si yo no puedo venir, sí vamos a seguir con el servicio de Shabbat.
the only thing we put off is the Wednesday and the Thursday night classes.
Lo único que hemos cancelado al momento son los cursos el miércoles y jueves por la tarde.
And the reason is because I've got so many appointments with doctors and hospitals and clinics and financial aid offices and things like that.
Y eso por tener tanto cito con el doctor John, no vamos a tener que poder cumplir con ambos al mismo tiempo.
That by the end of the day, I'm just worn out.
Ya para el fin del día ya estoy muy cansado.
So, if you don't know, if you had not heard, I had the port put in on Wednesday, and I'm doing good.
Now I'm going to try to figure out how to say that.
Una puerta.
Puso el aparato para el quimo
Sí.
el miércoles.
And so I go to see the oncologist on Thursday to make sure everything is good.
Voy a seguir con el oncólogo en el jueves para estar seguro que todo sigue bien.
And then the following week, we'll be starting the chemotherapy and radiation.
Y el próximo semana vamos a iniciar con el tratamiento de radio,
Quimioterapia y radiación.
el quimioterapia.
Thank you, everyone, for your prayers.
Gracias a todos por sus oraciones.
I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Se lo agradezco desde el fondo de mi corazón.
I have to tell you that both the oncologists and the radiologists are very optimistic.
Le tengo que reportar que el oncólogo y el radiólogo están tienen sí.
And so hopefully but I'm not depending on the doctors or the medication. I'm depending on Hashem.
They obviously understood that.
So anyway, but just and thank you. Everybody is donating and things like that. We do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I have not been able to work for a month now.
Agradezco todas las donaciones que nos han dado, viendo que no he podido trabajar por un mes.
You know, I do not like speaking concerning money. I very seldom do.
Y a mí no me cae bien hablar seguido del dinero.
My sister has set up a GoFundMe page to help us out.
Mi hermana ha creado un sitio de GoFundMe para ayudarnos.
And this is not just to help us out financially, this also is to help pay for the medications and the doctors and such as that.
No solamente para ayudarnos con las finanzas, sino también con el medicamento y todo acerca del doctor.
The Circles of Life Ministry, Dr. Robinson here in Harlingen, have actually paid the majority of our medical bills.
El ministro Circles of Life nos ha ayudado en pagar por la mayoría de todo lo que nos han cobrado.
But we still have bills that we have to pay. We have to, they can't cover everything for me, and so this is why we were raising the money.
Pero aún hay las facturas de la vida diario.
If I do qualify for aid, it'll be at least a month, maybe 2 months before that kicks in. And so I have to cover this month and the radiation treatments and those kinds of things.
Y si el gobierno decide que sí califico por ayuda financiera del gobierno, pues todavía va a tardar unos 2 o 3 meses para llegar aquí ese dinero.
So I just want you to know where I stand. I'm doing good, spirit, mentally, emotionally. I am doing good, and God walks beside me. The Lord is with me every step of the way. I feel His presence with me every day.
De sumario me siento bien mentalmente, emocionalmente, y el Señor me va a seguir ayudando.
Sí.
Y este mes ya tiene que empezar a pagar sus radiaciones, ¿verdad? This month you're
Yes,
gonna start paying the radiation.
they actually do the radiation and chemotherapy at the same time.
So, al mismo tiempo le van a hacer las radiaciones y la quimioterapia y ya él tiene que empezar a pagar lo que tiene que pagar.
So, what was I going to say? Margaret was doing I think she's trying to set up a yard sale. So if y'all can donate, if you have anything that you can donate for that to help pay for my medications and things like that, we do appreciate it.
Margaret va a tener una venta de yarda para ayudarme con los medicamentos. Si usted tiene algo que donar para vender a ella, le agradeceremos.
Does she have a date?
I don't think so.
Oh, bueno.
A date.
Al momento no hay sitio o fecha,
I think it's going to be at her house.
pero creo que va a ser en su casa.
No? No?
No,
Okay,
she
sorry.
has a spot that.
She has a spot. All right, she has a place. All right. Okay, then I won't talk out of order. Okay. All right, let's go to Shabbat, Exodus chapter 20.
Shemot, Éxodo capítulo 20.
So with Shemot chapter 20, and we are in verse 13.
Otra vez, Éxodo capítulo 20, versículo 13.
We took the 6th commandment, and this morning, actually, I think we'll be close to finishing up the commandments, the mitzvot of the 10 commandments this morning.
La meta de hoy va a ser para acercar a cumplir con todos los mandamientos, el disculpo.
So the Hebrew says, Lo tirtzach, lo tenaf, lo tignof, lo ta'ani, bre'acha ed shaker. Lo tirtzach, you shall not murder.
El 13, no
Lo-
asesinarás,
Lo tinaf, you shall not commit adultery.
no cometerás adulterio,
Lo tignof, you shall not steal.
no robarás,
Lo ta'ani bre'acha ed shaker. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
no darás falso testimonio contra tu prójimo.
And then the final commandment, the 10th commandment,
Y el mandamiento 10,
Lo tachmod beit re'ed lo tachmod ashet re'echa, that you shall not covet, your neighbor's house,
no codiciarás a la casa de tu prójimo,
nor your neighbor's wife,
ni la esposa,
nor his manservant,
su esclavo,
his maidservant,
su esclava,
his ox,
su buey,
his donkey,
su asno,
or whatever belongs to your neighbor.
ni nada que pertenezca a tu prójimo.
So last week we spoke to you shall not murder.
La semana pasada discutimos acerca de no asesinarás.
That the word tirzach is from the word retzach.
La palabra tirzach viene de retzach,
That the idea is that of, usually is of an unlawful premeditated murder.
y que la idea detrás de esa palabra es una matación que no fue soportado por ley,
of one human being by another.
de un humano a otro,
That it can mean to kill,
puede decir matar cualquier,
as in the taking of any life.
como quitar cualquier vida, matar,
But that is not the idea here.
pero no es la idea aquí.
That we know through other portions of Torah
Que sabemos por medio de otras partes de la Torah,
that it is not the intent of God that we never kill.
que no es lo que quiere decir Dios que nunca vamos a matar,
For it is given to the government of the nation
porque fue dado ese derecho al gobernante,
or of the state
al gobierno, al Estado,
that they are to put to death those who have willfully, premeditatedly taken life.
que sí deben de matar a los que voluntariamente han quitado vida de otro.
We know that it does not apply to animals,
Pero sabemos que no aplica a los animales,
even though Hashem in Torah requires us to be careful about our treatment of animals.
que no se aplica con los animales, aunque en la Torah Hashem nos avise que debemos de tener cuidado con las vidas de los animales,
That we are not to needlessly take life,
que no debemos de tomar vida sin causa,
because all life belongs to Hashem.
porque toda vida pertenece a Hashem,
All life comes from Hashem.
toda vida viene de Hashem,
Therefore, we are not to needlessly take that life.
así que no debemos de quitar vida sin causa.
We are to take care of how we treat animals.
Debemos de guardar cómo tratamos a los animales,
Because if we mistreat animals,
porque maltratar los animales
it exposes the darkness of our heart. It brings to view,
les oculta la oscuridad de nuestro corazón,
it brings darkness to the top.
Demuestra la oscuridad del corazón.
Rather than being in control of the nefesh, of the soul, of the spirit.
En vez de tener control sobre el nefesh bejamá,
I will tell you that I detest killing animals,
le digo de una vez que a mí no me encanta el matar de animal,
particularly those who go hunting.
especialmente los que van de casero.
I'm not talking about killing a deer or a dove or go fishing to feed your family.
Bueno, no hablo de cazar para alimentarse uno,
But we are forbidden to kill an animal
pero sí nos provee el matar animal
as an object or as a trophy,
para placer,
simply to put the head of the animal on our wall.
nada más para montar en el cuerpo del animal matado en la pared,
So that I can brag of what a great shot I am.
para demostrar a todos qué tan bueno casero soy yo.
That is contrary to Torah.
Eso va contra Torah.
Neither am I to fish for fish. Go fishing for fish.
Tampoco debo de ir a pescar solamente para pescar cuántos puedo pescar,
To take that fish and put it on my wall.
para montar el pez.
If I'm not going to eat it,
Si no la voy a comer
and if I am not going to use it for the sustenance of life,
y si no voy a usar ese cuerpo para alimentar la sustancia de la vida,
even if it's not just to eat, but to make clothing, to make belts or shoes,
no solamente para comer, pero también para otros productos como la
And-
ropa,
and that out of my need,
algo que viene de necesidad,
I'm to leave the animal alone.
debo de dejar como está el animal.
That animal has a life,
Ese animal tiene vida,
and the life is given to that animal by God Himself.
una vida que fue dado a ese animal por Dios mismo.
Therefore, I am not to mess with, I'm not to violate that animal,
Así que no debemos de violar ese derecho del animal.
to unnecessarily violate that animal's life
A quitar esa vida del animal
is to violate Hashem,
viola un mandamiento de Hashem,
is to violate the Creator
es violar al Creador,
who has given that animal his life.
quien ha dado ese animal su vida.
And so I am not to trophy hunt.
Así que no debo de cazar solamente para placer.
I know the big thing today is catch and release.
Ahora también sé que hay un tipo de cazar donde uno lo captura el animal y luego lo deja ir,
Especially in fishing,
especialmente con pez.
you go out, you catch the fish,
van a pescar el pez,
but because you are cognizant of the environment,
pero porque uno tiene en mente cómo afecta la habitación del pez,
you release the fish.
dejas ir al pez.
I will tell you,
Te voy a decir,
this is contrary to Torah.
también esto va contra el Torah.
Why?
¿Y por qué?
What are you doing to that animal?
¿Qué haces al pez?
What are you doing to that life?
¿Qué haces con la vida de ese animal?
You're causing that animal to suffer.
Causas sufrir el animal.
How are you causing that animal to suffer?
¿Y cómo causas sufrir el animal?
You're causing him pain.
Le causas dolor,
You're causing him to bleed.
le causas sangrar,
And emotionally, mentally, you're causing that animal to suffer.
emocionalmente, mentalmente vas causando sufrir.
Because every animal, including human beings, has the desire to live.
Porque cada animal, incluyendo a los humanos, tiene ese deseo de vivir.
Has the, what do you call it? The drive for life.
Tiene ese instinto de vivir.
And so this is why, when you catch a fish, this is why he fights.
Y por eso cuando pesca pez, el pez pelea contigo.
Yes.
Additionally, in oral Torah, that's taking the fish out of the water is when you've slaughtered it.
Yes. If you hook a fish and he jumps out of the water, or when you pull him out of the water, as far as God is concerned, you have killed that fish.
También viendo que en la Torah oral nos dice que Dios considera el matación del pez ya cuando uno lo saque del agua, el matadero kasher.
So it's not. So you've taken that fish out of its life environment.
Han sacado el pez de su habitación diario
And you're causing him to suffer.
y han causado el pez sufrir.
This is contrary to Torah.
Esto va contrario al Torah,
Saying, what does Torah require?
diciendo que requiere la Torah.
I know that many people think that they are being kind by catching the fish and releasing it.
Yo sé que hay mucha gente cree que tienen compasión en capturar el pez y luego dejarlo ir.
That is treating fishing and hunting as though it is a sport.
Eso trata el cazar como que es un deporte.
God never intended for the taking of an animal's life to be sport.
Dios nunca puso en acción algo para darnos el pensar que tomar la vida de un animal es un deporte.
Only to take the animal's life for food or for clothing, something to that effect.
Nada más tomar la vida del animal para comida, para ropa o para defenderse uno.
The things that are necessary for life.
Las cosas que son requeridos para vivir.
Saying,
Diciendo,
if you do not intend to eat or use that animal or fish for food, for sustenance, or for clothing, those kinds of things,
si usted no tiene intención de usar ese animal para algo del vivir diario,
you are required by Torah
te requiere la Torah
to leave it alone.
a dejarlo como está,
Leave it where it is.
déjalo solo.
You are not permitted to catch it and then release it.
No se permite capturarlo y luego dejarlo ir.
You are not permitted to shoot it and put its horns on your wall.
No se permite
It's hidden.
tirarlo y luego montarlo en la pared.
And so how we treat animals.
¿Cómo se trata el animal?
Now, I said all of this because there are those who say that this sixth commandment, you shall not kill, that it refers to that you shall not kill animals.
Ahora digo todo esto por causa que hay alguna gente que cree que este mandamiento es referente a todo tipo de matar.
But we know exactly that it does not refer to this.
Pero sabemos que no refiere a todo tipo.
How do we know?
¿Y cómo sabemos?
Because in a few chapters,
Porque en algunos versículos
he's going to require them to kill animals.
él le va a dar un requisito de matar
As korbanot.
como corbano.
Korbanot, we'll talk about in a minute, but korbanot, the Hebrew word for sacrifices.
Corbanot es una palabra que quiere decir sacrificio.
We say in English sacrifice,
Decimos en inglés
or in Spanish,
o en español sacrificio,
but korbanot does not exactly mean that.
pero corbano no quiere decir o ser traducido literalmente como
And
sacrificios.
we'll see that in a little bit.
Vamos a ver esto en unos minutos.
And so we were studying the killing that you shall not, it says you shall not murder.
Ahora vamos a considerar que dice aquí, no asesinarás.
And this is the premeditated taking of human life.
Esto refiere al planeado quitar vida de otro hombre.
But both in the Torah and the Brit Chadashah, both what the church calls the Old Testament and the New Testament,
En ambos, la Torá y el Nuevo Testamento,
that the idea is extended further than this,
esta idea tiene extensión,
that what is required of us is to avoid the shedding of human blood as much as is possible.
y la extensión es evitar que no se tire sangre humana.
So Rav Shaul teaches us that we are to dwell peaceably among all men as much as is possible.
Así que el Rav Shaul nos dice que hay uno que habitar con sus hermanos en paz, tanto como pueda uno.
This does not say that you do not have the right to defend yourself.
Ahora, esto no quiere decir que no tiene uno el derecho de defenderse.
This does not say that warfare is wrong or evil in every instance.
Ni que la guerra es algo malo en cada instancia.
There is what we call the just shedding of blood.
Hay algo que se determina como el justo shedding of blood.
La razón justa.
Una razón justa para sangrar.
That there is a time for warfare.
Que si hay tiempo de guerra.
As Shlomo HaMelech says,
Como dice el rey Salomón,
that there is a time for peace
que hay un tiempo de paz
and there is a time for war.
y un tiempo de guerra.
There's a time for life
Un tiempo de vida,
and there's a time for death.
un tiempo de muerte.
And so we're to live peaceably as we are able to.
Así que debemos de vivir con paz tanto como se pueda,
But I am also required to look after my family
pero también se requiere guardar la familia
and if necessary to look after the national interest.
y también guardar el interés nacional,
Saying
diciendo
Israel has a right to defend herself.
que Israel tiene derecho a defenderse.
Israel has a right to defend herself.
La nación de Israel tiene derecho a defenderse.
So we brought out last week in Matthew chapter 5,
Discutimos la semana pasada en Matisiahu, en Mateo, capítulo
that
5,
Yeshua says this,
que Yeshua dice esto.
Halo shematem ki ne'amad larishnim lo tirtzach ra'asher yitzach. You have heard it said from them of old, you shall not murder. Whoever shall murder is in danger of judgment.
What verse is that?
Yes.
Mateo capítulo 5 versículo 21. Han oído que fue dicho a nuestros padres, no asesinarás, y cualquiera que cometa asesinato será sujeto a juicio. Pero yo les digo que cualquiera que guarda ira contra su hermano será sujeto a juicio. Que cualquiera que le diga a su hermano, tú no sirves para nada, será responsable ante el Sinhadrin, y cualquiera que diga necio incurre la penalidad de quemarse en el fuego del Gehinnom.
Okay, so Va'ani omer, you don't have to translate, you read it all. Va'ani omer lachem kol asher yitzof al achiv kinam chayav hu lebeit din. I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother shall be in danger of, now the word translated there in English is usually judgment, literally the Beit Din, the court of judgment. That is every town to the courthouse that was located in every town. Okay? Then, Va'asher yomar al achin reka kayav hu lesadkedrin. Whoever shall say to his brother, Racha, idiot, in other words, putting down his mental state, that he is, his mental capacity.
Emotional, mental abuse.
Yes.
Verbal abuse.
Insultar a su hermano y decirle que no tienen capaz mental
Shall be in danger of the Sanhedrin.
Tienen peligro ser juzgados por el Sanhedrin.
We are not permitted to insult one another.
No se permite insultar.
We are not permitted to.
No se permite.
We're not permitted to put down.
No se permite.
We are not permitted, even if it is in jest, even as a joke.
Aunque sea broma, no se permite.
So you're not permitted jokingly to insult your brother.
No se permite insultar como broma.
This is by the Torah.
Así se dice por Torah.
This is not even by the oral Torah. This is by Torah.
Esto es por Torah, no es por Torah oral.
You will not put down your brother.
Que no deben insultar a su hermano.
My wife Wilma used to tell the children, she still does.
Mi esposo decía a mis hijos,
She would tell them, do not put others down, lift them up.
no deben insultar a otros, deben de soportarlos.
This was a lesson that I personally had to learn
Esta era una lección que yo personalmente tuve que aprender,
because I love to tell jokes.
porque me encanta decir bromas. Y
And
chistes.
I would insult people,
Insultaba a la gente
joking,
en broma.
not trying to hurt their feelings.
No quería lastimarles mentalmente.
I was trying to get a laugh.
Le quería causarles reír.
When I worked at the school,
Cuando trabajaba en la escuela,
as the students would pass by, high school, the students would pass by,
mientras que pasaban los estudiantes,
and I would throw out insults as the students were passing by.
tiraba insultos de broma.
Insult to this one,
Le insultaba a este,
insult to that one.
a este, al otro.
And many of the students enjoyed it.
Y la mayoría de los estudiantes le encantaban,
I was paying them attention.
que le daba algún tipo de atención,
They would come by
y pasaban
just so I could insult them,
nada más para ser insultados,
so that everybody would laugh.
para que todos se pudieran reír.
They would come by and give me high fives.
Me tocaban el mano y todo.
But sometimes I would notice that somebody would avoid me,
Pero a veces noté que algunos no querían pasar.
and I would go to that one,
Y me iba con ese
and I would say, hey, you're avoiding me.
y le decía, por qué pasas al lado?
You don't come by anymore. You don't say hi anymore.
Ya no pasas por aquí.
What happened?
¿Qué pasó?
They say, you hurt my feelings.
Y me decían, me lastimaste.
And then I would feel bad.
Y me sentía mal yo también.
I would try to remember what I said that had hurt their feelings.
Y atenté de recordar qué dije
But I know it's probably true.
y saber que quizás era algo de verdad.
Now I could tell them, quit being a sissy,
Ahora les pudiera decir, ya no se lastime tan fácil.
grow up,
Esfuérzate,
quit being a baby.
no seas bebé.
But it wasn't their fault.
Pero no era culpa de ellos,
It's my fault.
era mi culpa.
I should not have insulted them.
No debería haber insultados.
People get their feelings hurt.
Se lastima la gente
Not everybody's the same.
y no todos son de lo mismo.
My problem was this.
Ese era mi problema.
I don't have a filter.
No tengo filtro.
I have a brain
Traigo cerebro
and I have a mouth.
y boca
And there's nothing that stops the words.
y no hay nada en medio.
There's no filter.
No hay filtro.
So it went from my brain to my mouth.
Así que del cerebro cayó, se me cayó de la boca.
Not thinking about it.
No pensé en ello.
How many of you are like that?
¿Y cuántos de aquí son así?
The word just comes out.
Se le cae de la boca.
You don't even think about it.
Ni lo pensaste.
And what you're doing to the other person.
Ni cómo tratas a la otra gente.
This is what we are forbidden from doing.
Y por eso se prohíbe.
So I have had to learn to put the filter in place.
He aprendido cómo instalar el filtro
With the natural animal,
con el naturaleza animal,
with the human, with the earthly human being.
con este cuerpo humano.
There is no filter.
No hay filtro.
The switch of that sephirah, of that attribute, is turned off.
Okay,
Like a
el
light
enchufe
switch.
de ese sefirá, de ese aspecto celestial, no se ha aprendido.
I have to, on purpose, turn it on.
Tengo que manualmente aprenderlo.
I must put the filter in its place.
Yo tengo que instalar ese filtro,
To be careful what I say.
a tener cuidado con lo que digo
To be careful what comes out of my mouth.
y de lo que me cae de la boca.
As David Hamelech says in Tehillim,
Como dice el rey David en los Salmos,
Lord, put a guard upon my lips.
Dios, guarde mis labios,
Put a guard. Be careful what I say.
que tenga cuidado con lo que digo.
This is what is meant, whoever shall say to his brother, Raka, you fool.
Por eso aquí dice que debemos de tener cuidado con lo que quien insulta a su hermano.
Then he says, Ve'asher yikra lo hu me kuyad esh gehinom. That whoever, it's usually translated, whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Y normalmente se traduce, no sé si full in Spanish.
Tonto, estúpido.
Okay. I'll go with what it says here. Necio, incurre en la penalidad de quemarse en el fuego del Gehinom.
The reason why I say this is because, and we talked about this last week, because the Hebrew covers it up as a euphemism.
Y la razón por cual lo digo de esta manera es que el hebreo lo cubre con una palabra que quiere decir otra cosa.
And Spanish does the same thing.
Y el español hace lo mismo.
You're not permitted to say estúpido.
No se permite insultar.
You're not supposed to call people stupid.
En la cultura española no se permite insultar.
In English, we do not have such a custom.
No hay ese tipo de filtro en
In
inglés.
Spanish, it is considered a bad word. It is considered bad manners.
Y en español se considera algo maldiciente.
Why?
¿Y por qué?
Because who lived in Spain?
¿Quién vivió en España?
Where do the customs come from?
¿De dónde vino esa costumbre?
Who lived in Spain?
¿Quién vivía en España?
The Sephardic Jews.
Los judíos sefárdicos.
And so Spain learned from the Sephardic Jews
Así que afectaron la cultura española.
this custom to not call someone these names, these
Esta
words.
costumbre de evitar insultar a la gente.
But this last statement where he says, Vasher yikra lohu mekuyav esh genochim, that he who says this shall be in danger of the hellfire.
Okay, en la última parte de la oración, que el que dice necio incurre la penalidad de quemarse en el fuego del Gehinom,
It is not the word fool,
no es la palabra necio,
because the word fool is kisil.
porque la palabra necio en hebreo es kisil.
The word here is naval,
La palabra hebreo aquí es naval,
and it is used in a euphemistic way.
usado de manera para cubrirlo.
This is a polite way of saying mamzer, the Hebrew word mamzer.
Es una palabra compasivo en llamarle bastardo.
This is a way you could just use the Hebrew until I get there.
Okay.
This is a polite way of calling someone a bastard.
La palabra compasivo en decirle a alguien que él es un bastardo.
Not in the joking way that many people do today.
Y no en manera de broma como de hoy, pero
To them, this was a total insult, a
Pero-
complete insult.
de manera literal para insultarlos.
This was literally insulting who you are, your background, your family.
Decir esta palabra era para insultarle a usted, su familia, su herencia.
Because as we taught last week, that one who was a bastard in Israel
Porque como discutimos la semana pasada, un bastardo en Israel
was one whose mother or father were inappropriate for the marriage or for the relationship.
era cualquier que sus padres no eran apropiados de tener un matrimonio.
Not only did it affect the child of one whose parents were not married,
No solamente le afectaba a los padres,
that were not married,
a los padres que no se habían casado,
because there were instances where that was redeemable,
porque había instancias donde se podía corregir eso,
as we will see in a little bit.
como vamos a ver en un poco.
But for example, a husband or a wife who committed adultery
Por ejemplo, un hombre y su mujer que cometieron adulterio
is different from the sin of fornication.
Adulterio tiene pena diferente que fornicar.
So people who were living who had committed the sin of fornication.
Así que gente que habían fornicado
This was redeemable.
se podían redimir.
The redeemability of this situation.
¿Cómo se podía redimir?
Fornication is when the couple is not married. They're not married to anyone.
Okay. Los que han fornicado, ninguno de la pareja se han casado.
Adultery is where one or the other or both are married to someone else.
Y adulterio es cuando uno o el otro o ambos son casados.
So fornication is redeemable.
Así que fornicar se puede redimir.
How is the child redeemable?
¿Cómo se puede redimir el niño?
That the couple get married.
Que se casen sus padres.
And now it is a legal, it is a contracted marriage.
Ahora es un matrimonio.
But where a parent is married to someone else,
Pero cuando uno de los padres está casado con otro,
that is not permitted,
no se permite.
that is punishable by death.
Se puede castigar con muerte.
So the difference between adultery and fornication,
La diferencia entre adulterio y fornicar.
fornication is redeemable by the couple getting married.
Fornicar se puede redimir por la pareja en casarse,
Adultery is unredeemable.
y adulterio no se puede redimir.
And the people, the two who committed the sin are put to death.
Y ambos se matan.
The product of such a relationship
El producto de ese tipo de relación
was also considered to be unredeemable.
también se consideraba como un niño que no se podía redimir.
The child was not put to death,
No se mataba el niño,
but the child could never marry into a Jewish family.
pero tampoco se pudiera casar con un judío.
They could never become Jewish.
No se pudiera considerar como
They
judío,
could never enter into the assembly.
y no pudiera entrar en la asamblea
And so until after the 10th generation,
hasta después del 10ª generación.
this person and his descendants could not enter into Judaism.
Esta persona y sus descendientes no se pudieran convertir a judaísmo,
For this reason, they were considered irredeemable.
y por eso se consideraba sin redención.
The same is true if a man or a woman married an idolater.
También era lo mismo como de lo que pasaba con alguien que se casó con alguien que practicaba idolatría.
Why?
¿Y por qué?
Because idolatry is considered to be spiritual adultery.
Porque se consideraba como el mismo clase de pecado un adulterio espiritual.
And if a Jew turned to idolatry,
Y si un judío practicaba idolatría,
he was cut off as well.
también se rechazaba del pueblo
He was to be put to death.
y debería haber ser matado también.
And so the child, the production of such a relationship,
Así que el producto de ese tipo de relación
was also considered a bastard child.
también se consideraba un mamzer
They were irredeemable.
que no se podía redimir.
So when someone was called a bastard,
Así, decirle a alguien que era un bastardo,
they were being told that they were of no value,
era decirles que no tienen valor,
that they were irredeemable,
que no se pudieran redimir,
that they could not be saved.
que no se pudieran salvar.
This is to what Yeshua is speaking.
A eso es lo que refiere Yeshua.
If you call your brother of no value,
Si tú le dices a tu hermano que no tiene valor,
that is, if you say to your brother,
o decir a tu hermano,
you are worthless,
no sirves para nada,
then you have committed in effect murder,
entonces han cometido un tipo de matar,
because you have killed the spirit of that person.
porque han matado el espíritu de esa persona,
You break the spirit of that person.
han quebrantado el espíritu de esa persona.
When you say to someone that they are irredeemable,
Cuando le dices a alguien que no tiene redención,
you break that person's spirit.
quiebran el espíritu de esa persona,
Because every human being is of value to Hashem.
por causa que todo humano tiene valor a Hashem,
that whosoever
que cualquier
believes in him
cree en él
shall be saved.
tendrá salvación.
For Hashem,
Para Hashem,
there is no person who is worthless.
para Hashem no hay persona que no tiene valor.
There is no person without value. All are redeemable.
No hay persona que no es útil. Todos tienen valor.
And we are not to consider such.
Y no debemos de considerar,
I warn us here.
bueno, les
warn
aviso,
those of us who are here
les aviso a todos aquí
that we're to be careful.
que deben de tener cuidado.
But I also want to warn my brothers and sisters in Christianity in the church
Pero también quiero avisar a mis hermanos y hermanas en la iglesia
that they are to be careful.
que también deben de tener cuidado.
We are to be careful when we're making judgments of others.
A tener cuidado en juzgar a otros,
Because there was this thing
porque había esta cosa
that in the circles in which we were involved,
en los círculos de personas en cuales estábamos inculcados,
in evangelical Christianity,
en el cristianismo evangélico,
and particularly in the Baptist denomination,
especialmente en el dominio bautista,
where there were critics,
donde había los que daban crítico,
there were judgmental people,
a gente que juzgaba,
because in fundamental Baptist denomination
porque en el dominio bautista fundamental
and in others
y en otros
that are fundamentalists,
que también son fundamental,
if you went to the movies,
si ibas al cine
that was considered to be a great sin.
ya estabas pecando.
Now, I know Baptist preachers
Ahora conozco a predicadores
who would preach
bautistas
against going to the movies,
que predicaron contra ir al cine,
but those same movies
pero esas mismas películas
would be shown on TV.
salían en el tele,
They had a TV in their house.
tenían tele en casa
They would watch those same movies.
y se pusieron a ver el tele.
I always had this question:
Y yo siempre con esta pregunta,
why is it okay to watch this movie in my house,
¿por qué está bien en el tele,
but I cannot go to a theater with my friend and watch the same movie?
pero no puedo ver esa misma película en el cine?
It's hypocrisy.
Es una hipocresía,
It does not make sense.
no tiene sentido.
If one of my Baptist friends
Si algunos de mis amigos bautistas
or one of my Pentecostal holiness friends
o mis amigos pentecostés
would see me in HEB,
me vieron en HEB
buy a bottle of wine
a comprar una botella de vino
or buy a beer,
o una cerveza,
you're going to hell.
ya te vas a ir al infierno.
The gossip lights would light up.
Gossip lights. Y ya se prendían todas las luces del chisme.
Telephone
El teléfono
would light up.
y ya se prendía.
Why?
¿Y por qué?
Oh, be praying for Brother Ed.
Oren por él.
He's a sinner.
Va pecando.
I don't even know if he's saved
No, ni sé si se ha salvado.
because he bought a beer,
Porque compró cerveza.
because he drank a glass of wine,
Porque tomó un poco de vino.
because I saw him in the movies,
Porque le vino el cine.
because I saw him at a dance.
Le vino un baile.
He's probably not even saved.
Quizás ni está salvado.
Okay, so you may consider me guilty.
Ok, bueno, tú consideras todo eso de pecado.
What about your gossip?
¿Y qué tal su chisme?
Is that not also guilty?
¿También no es eso pecado?
Where does the scripture say that you're to go and tattle on your brothers?
¿Dónde dice en la escritura que uno debe ir a chismear de sus hermanos?
That you're to call your friend?
Que deben de marcar su
You'll never believe what I saw.
Nunca vas a creer lo que vi.
It's called
Huh?
sharing
Pray for Brother Ed,
Oren por él.
because he's gone astray.
Porque ya se ha ido del Señor.
You know what I heard very frequently from these people?
¿Sabes lo que escuchaba tan seguido de esta gente?
I promise you, I heard this frequently from people in our denomination.
Y le prometo que lo escuché seguidamente.
That person probably is not even saved.
Esa persona quizás ni se ha salvado.
Let me tell you something.
Le voy a decir algo.
Who are you to make this kind of judgment?
¿A quién te dio el derecho de juzgar eso?
Can you see within the soul, within the heart of a human being?
¿Puedes tú ver entre el alma del humano?
Can you see the inward part?
la parte interior.
No, this is a part that only God himself can see.
No, solamente Dios tiene ese derecho.
It is not for you to make these kinds of judgments.
Tú no tienes el derecho de juzgar
It
eso.
is for God himself to make these judgments.
Solamente Dios puede juzgar eso.
I will be honest with you this morning. I will tell you the truth.
Y la verdad aquí te lo voy a dar.
I do not know who is saved and who is not saved.
Yo no sé quién está salvo ni
I cannot see within your heart.
no puedo ver su corazón.
This is what is meant when Hashem told Shmuel that man looks on the outward appearance, God looks on the heart.
Por eso le dijo Dios a Samuel, Dios ve lo interior.
You are looking at me only by my outward appearance,
Usted solamente puede juzgar de la apariencia,
but you do not know how close or how far I am from Hashem,
pero no sabes qué tan cerca o lejos estoy de Hashem.
because I'm not living up to your standards,
Simplemente por no tener sus estándares.
because that's what these all were. These were human standards.
Y lo que quiero dar a saber que todo esto era calificación humana,
These were the standards of a denomination.
una calificación de una dominación,
These were the standards of a pastor,
de un pastor,
of a teacher, of a deacon.
de un maestro.
These are the standards of human beings.
Son calificaciones humanos.
Have you not heard that David danced before Hashem?
¿No han leído que David bailó delante de Dios?
Have you not heard that the family sat down with the Kohen and shared his wine with him?
¿No han leído que la familia se sentó con el sacerdote y tomó vino con él?
Have you not heard these things?
¿No lo han leído?
Then who said?
¿Quién lo dijo?
Are these not standards of men?
¿No son calificaciones humanos?
I find it amazing that many of these people lambast me because I teach out of Talmud, I teach out of the oral Torah.
Me asombra que toda esta gente me dicen algo malo por enseñar de la Torah,
And yet these same people,
pero esas mismas gentes
are they not teaching the traditions of men?
no enseñan ellos las tradiciones de los humanos.
Are they not judging me by their own traditions?
Me juzgan por sus tradiciones humanos.
This is exactly what Yeshua was speaking to.
Era esto que refería a Yeshua.
In what manner?
¿De cuál manera?
That he said, in whatsoever means you judge someone else, you are judging yourself.
Que cualquier medio que usted usa a juzgar a otro va a ser usado contra ti.
He said, be careful not to judge others with too harsh a judgment,
Ten cuidado en no juzgar a otros de manera pesada,
because with what judgment you judge others, lest you be guilty of committing the same,
porque si por alguna razón usted comete lo mismo,
and the same judgment with which you judged others,
entonces la manera en cual usted juzgó a la otra persona
you will be judged with a more harsh judgment,
va a ser usado en manera más pesada con usted,
because you judge someone by the same judgment or for the same sin.
por caso de juzgar a alguien con esa calificación.
This is why Yeshua instructed us
Por eso nos instructó Yeshua
that whoever shows mercy,
que cualquier que demuestra
to
misericordia,
him mercy will be shown,
a él le van a dar misericordia,
but whoever shows judgment,
pero cualquier que juzga
to him judgment will be shown.
va a ser juzgado.
He himself said in Yohanan chapter 3 and John chapter 3,
Él dijo en Juan capítulo 3,
the Son of Man did not come to the world in order to judge the world,
el Hijo del Hombre no vino al mundo para juzgar el mundo,
but the Son of Man came to the world that the world through him might be saved.
sino vino el Hijo del Hombre al mundo para salvar el mundo.
Following in the footsteps of Rabbeinu Yeshua Mashiach,
Seguir los pasos de nuestro rabino, Yeshua Mashiach,
we are not here to judge people.
no estamos aquí para juzgar.
That is the principal position of God himself.
Esa es la posición principal de Dios mismo.
My responsibility is to point you to Yeshua,
Yo tengo responsabilidad a mostrarle a Yeshua,
to his great salvation,
a su salvación,
to the forgiveness of sin,
a deshacerse uno del pecado,
to put away the desires of the flesh,
a guardar, bueno, a deshacerse uno de los deseos de la carne
and to walk in accordance with Torah.
y a caminar en acordancia con la Torah.
And so this is why
Por eso esto,
that he says,
por eso se dice,
if you judge someone with these kinds of thoughts,
si usted juzga con este tipo de pensar,
these kind of judgments,
este tipo de juzgo, de
you
juicio,
yourself
usted mismo
are in danger
está en peligro
of coming into judgment
a ser juzgado,
of Gehinnom,
a Gehinnom,
the hellfire, the fire of hell.
juegos del infierno.
Because when you say that someone is not saved,
Porque cuando usted dice que alguno no se ha salvado,
when you say that someone is probably going to hell,
cuando usted dice alguien va a ir al infierno,
you are in effect
usted, en efecto,
stating that they are worthless and irredeemable.
en efecto va diciendo que no tienen valor, que no se pueden redimir.
Do you understand this concept?
Comprende el concepto.
So we're to be careful.
Así hay que tener cuidado.
There's the understanding in Judaism.
Ahí es donde se understanding in Judaism.
Yeah. They're gonna say there's this understanding in Judaism that words release power.
Hay un concepto en judaísmo que las palabras tienen poder.
That when I speak, I'm giving force to the entities.
Que cuando yo digo algo, voy a dar poder a las palabras, los espíritus.
So that when I speak good or blessing,
Cuando bendigo,
I'm giving force, I am empowering the angels of good, the beings of good,
voy dando fuerzas a los ángeles de lo bueno,
to do good.
para cumplir bueno.
But when I speak evil concerning someone,
Pero cuando hablo mal,
when I curse someone,
cuando maldigo a alguien,
then I am releasing the force, the power of evil upon someone.
entonces voy dando fuerza a lo maligno.
Think about that. This is why we are not permitted to tell people, go to hell.
Por eso no se permite decir a la gente, vete al infierno.
It is not my position, my responsibility to tell someone to go to hell.
No es su posición ni su autoridad a decirle eso a la gente.
I do not have that power.
Yo no tengo ese derecho o poder,
Only God has that power.
solamente Dios.
Therefore, I may not say that.
Así que no debo de decir nada de eso.
In saying that I am committing blasphemy,
En decirlo cometo blasfemia.
in what way am I saying blasphemy? Am I committing blasphemy?
¿De cuál manera cometo blasfemia?
I'm saying that I have the power of God to condemn someone to hell.
Voy tomando autoridad de Dios
I cannot do that.
y no debo hacer eso.
But in doing that, I also bring this to enforcement, this rule to enforcement,
En decir esto también voy a dar a poder a esta regla,
that if I tell someone to go to hell,
que si le digo a alguien verte al infierno,
according to the words of Yeshua here,
de acuerdo con las palabras de Yeshua,
V'asher dikra lo hu mekuyav esh gehinom, that I am close myself to going to hell
entonces yo mismo estoy cerca a ir al infierno.
when I tell someone to go to hell.
Cuando yo le digo eso a alguien,
All right, so this.
así que esto,
Lotinaf. Do not commit adultery.
no cometerás adulterio.
So what does this mean? Do not commit adultery. Lotinaf.
¿Qué quiere decir esto? Lotinaf.
What am I saying here?
¿Qué voy diciendo aquí?
So we already explained some of this a little earlier.
Ya discutimos esto un poco más antes.
That Lotinov, do not commit adultery. That Rashi says here, adultery applies only to relations with a married woman or a married man.
Adulterio solamente se aplica en relación con una mujer o hombre casado.
So this is the distinction between adultery and fornication.
Es lo que le hace distinto a fornicar.
So we spoke to this a few moments ago. Salud.
Okay, hablamos de esto hace algunos minutos.
That those who are committing fornication, that fornication and adultery are different classifications of sin.
que fornicar y adulterar son diferentes.
Both are sexual sin.
Ambos son sexual,
But the one is between two people who have never been married.
pero uno entre gente que no se ha casado.
In other words, they are virgins.
En otras palabras, que son virgen,
They have never made a commitment or a contract with any other person,
que no han hecho ningún contrato
or as far as the marriage relationship goes.
acerca del matrimonio.
Thus, the Torah states that such a person shall not be put to death.
Así que la Torah dice que este tipo de persona no se va a matar.
Now, this does not mean that they are not committing sin or that it's okay to do this because they're not being put to death.
Ahora, eso no quiere decir que no están cometiendo pecado y que está bien hacer este acto.
And in fact, there is a judgment and a price to be paid for such.
Es más que hay un juicio de pagar esto.
If an unmarried man has sexual relations with an unmarried woman,
Si un hombre que no se ha casado tiene relación con una mujer que no se ha casado,
what is the penalty?
ah,
What is the punishment?
¿qué es el juicio?
They have to live together the rest of their lives.
Que se tenían que casar sin divorciarse.
He has to pay her bride price,
Él tiene que pagar el precio de boda
and he has to marry her.
y va a tener que casarse con ella.
He has to, in effect, in the olden times they would say he has to make a proper woman out of her.
Y como decían antes, le tenían que convertirla a ella a una mujer. honesta.
He is required to take the blemish off of her,
Se le quiere a él quitarle la mancha,
lest she be considered to be a prostitute,
porque si no le van a considerar a ella prostituta,
giving her body away either for pay or for free,
alguien que vende el cuerpo por dinero o por placer
and not being in a proper relationship.
y no tener relación actual.
And so, to commit adultery applies only to people who are married.
Así que adulterio solamente se refiere a la gente en cual uno de ellos son casados.
As we stated before, the penalty for such by Torah is death,
Y el juicio por Torah es matarlos,
and is death by stoning.
matarlos por
apedrándolos.
sí.
This was why Mary, in the Brit Hadashah, is in such a perilous situation, dangerous situation.
Por eso estaba en una situación peligrosa María, el madre de Yeshua,
Because at that time, betrothal was considered to be the same as marriage.
porque en ese tiempo betrothal, ser como comprometido era la misma cosa que ser casado.
Today we call it
Hoy lo llaman
engagement.
Compromiso.
compromiso.
Yes, so when Joey asked Nora to marry him,
Por ejemplo, cuando Joey le pidió a Nora casarse con él,
when she accepted the engagement ring, the sign of their engagement,
cuando ella tomó el anillo,
they are as good as married.
en los ojos de Dios ya están casados.
And as far as God is concerned. And so, starting at that point, they are not permitted to have relations with anyone else.
De ese punto para adelante no se permite relación con cualquier otro.
This goes completely against the grain of society today.
Ahora, sociedad ahora no piensa así, pero así era en ese tiempo.
So Rashi is saying here, adultery applies only to a man and a woman who are married to someone else.
Así que el rabino Rashi aquí dice que adulterio solamente aplica cuando uno o ambos son casados.
Why does Torah require such a one to be put to death?
¿Y por qué requiere la Torah matar?
Understand this, because this will help you to understand the next point, the next ones,
Y eso le va a ayudar a comprender el siguiente punto,
because you are not permitted to lie.
porque no se permite mentir,
You are not permitted to deceive.
no se permite decepcionar
You are not permitted to break your word.
y no se permite quebrar promesa,
We are not permitted to break a contract.
no se permite quebrar contrato.
Even if you did not intend,
aun si no era su intención,
to keep your contract,
que no era su intención cumplir con el contrato.
God considers you to hold your contract.
Dios quiere que lo cumples.
God considers the contract to be good.
Dios considera el contrato válido.
There's no game of crossing your finger
No hay algún juego de cruzarle los dedos
or saying, I was just playing,
o nada más era broma,
it was a joke,
nada más era broma.
that we didn't shake on it.
No fue algo de acuerdo.
This is what he means when he says, let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Este es uno de las razones por cual dice que sea su sí, sí y su no.
You are
no.
to be as good as your word.
Uno debe tener el apoyo de sus mismas palabras.
Shlomo Hamelech says in the book of Proverbs,
El rey Salomón dice en el libro de Proverbios,
a good name is to be had more than silver or gold.
un nombre bueno tiene más valor que oro o plata.
And so, in committing adultery,
En cometer adulterio,
you have in effect broken the contract.
has quebrantado un contrato.
And the commitment here is to be put to death.
Y el juicio aquí es en matarse.
The punishment, the penalty for this is death. Notice that 3 mitzvot in a row, 3 commandments in a row.
Noten aquí que hay 3 mandamientos seguidos
The requirement is death.
que se requiere como juicio matar.
To dishonor your mother and your father,
Deshonrar sus padres,
the punishment is death.
de juicio tiene matar.
To commit murder,
Como cometer asesinato,
the punishment is death.
el juicio es matar.
To commit adultery,
Y cometer adulterio,
the punishment is death.
otra vez, la muerte.
Then he says, you shall not steal.
Y luego dice, no debe de robar. No
Rashi
robar.
says here concerning this, and we're going to close, Rashi says here, the punishment is also death.
Aquí dice el rabino Rashi que también el juicio aquí es matar.
That he is giving to us a litany where the punishment is death, one after the other.
Que ya nos ha dado una litany.
The list.
Ya nos ha dado muchos ejemplos aquí donde se da muerte como el recompensa.
In what why would stealing be death?
¿Por qué la recompensa de robar es muerte?
Because the text, Rashi says, you shall not steal, this text refers to kidnapping.
Porque aquí dice el rabino Rashi que a robar es robar otro humano.
That Leviticus 19:11 refers to stealing money.
Que 1911
Leviticus 19:11.
Levítico 19:11 refiere a robar a propiedad, pero el mandamiento es acerca del secuestro de otro humano.
But this verse refers to the stealing of a human being.
Robar otro humano, secuestro.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because all of these crimes are referred to as capital sins.
Porque todos estos mandamientos, quebrarlo es un pecado capital.
Leviticus 19:11 is not a capital sin.
En Levítico 19:11 no es un pecado capital,
Rather, the amount is to be repaid and then an added judgment.
sino que se debe de recomenzar el valor de la cosa y luego un multo.
But here it is listed among capital sins.
Pero aquí está puesto como un pecado capital.
And so, what according to Torah may I steal that I would be put to death?
De acuerdo con Torah, ¿qué se puede robar uno que le causa muerte?
Torah says, he who steals a life, he who steals a human being, shall be put to death.
La Torah dice que uno que roba vida, otro humano, se pone, se mata.
So according to Torah, if you kidnap someone, you are to be put to death. It's not that you go to prison, you're put to death.
Así que acerca de la Torah, si usted secuestra a alguien, le deben de matar.
The last, he says, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Y lo último, usted no debe de, no darás falso testimonio contra tu prójimo.
Very quickly with this one. If I give false testimony
Si doy falso testimonio
and a judgment comes down upon that person,
y le juzgan a esa persona
and it is discovered that I gave false testimony,
y notan que yo di un testimonio.
in other words, if I'm at a trial
En otras palabras, si estoy en un tribuno
and they put me on the witness stand
y piden que les testigo
and I testify against this person,
y testigo contra esta persona
and by my testimony that person is found to be guilty,
y por causa de mi testimonio le juzgan como culpable
or my testimony helps that person be found guilty,
o le ayuda a esa persona a ser culpable
and it is discovered that I have lied in my testimony,
y descubren que yo mentí en mi testimonio,
I have borne false testimony, I take upon myself the judgment that person would have received.
y por causa de mi falso testimonio voy a tomar el juicio de esa persona.
If I lie on the witness stand, if I commit perjury, I take the punishment.
Si yo miento en testificar,
Go ahead.
a mí me van a juzgar de la manera.
So if this person is judged to pay back a certain amount of money,
Por ejemplo, si le multan a esa persona una cierta cantidad
and I lied about him,
y yo fui el que mentí de él,
I pay that money.
yo voy a pagar ese multo.
If I lied against this person and they're required to spend time in jail,
Si yo mentí, ellos deberían ir al cárcel.
no, I spend that time in jail.
Yo voy a tomar el tiempo en el cárcel.
So if he's sentenced to 20 years hard labor,
Si le dan 20 años de labor
and it's found that it's discovered that I lied about him,
y se descubre que yo mentí de él,
he does not go to jail, I go to jail.
él no va a ir al cárcel, yo voy a ir.
I do the 20 years hard labor.
Yo voy a hacer los 20 años de labor.
Listen carefully. If that person is found guilty of murder,
Ahora, si esa persona le juzgan ser culpable de un asesinato
and the judgment is that he's going to be put to death,
y dicen que le van a matar a él
if it is discovered that I lied concerning that person,
y se descubre que yo mentí sobre esa persona,
he is set free,
le dejan ir a él
and I take that judgment, I must be put to death.
y yo voy a ser juzgado, matado.
So even in this, there is capital punishment involved.
Aún en esto hay recompensa capital.
This is how seriously God takes lying.
Es tan serio así como Dios ve a la vida.
This is why in Revelation, in the Rikadashah, it says
Por eso en el libro de Apocalipsis dice
that there shall in the city of the new Jerusalem,
en la ciudad del Nuevo Jerusalén
that there will be no adulterers,
no haber ningún adultero,
nor fornicators,
ni gente que hace fornicación,
Fornicadores.
nor homosexuals,
homosexuales,
nor thieves,
Ladrones.
ladrones,
nor liars,
Mentirosos.
mentirosos.
that none of these shall be found there.
Que no va a haber ninguno de estos ahí.
Be careful.
Ten cuidado.
Be careful with these things.
Ten cuidado con estas cosas.
So, next week we shall talk about this.
La semana que entra vamos a discutir esto.
What, do you remember that we started the 10 Commandments with this?
Recuerden que empezamos el estudio de los 10 mandamientos con esto.
That the first commandment is not, you shall not have any other gods before me.
Que el primer mandamiento no es no tendrás dioses ajenos delante de mí.
The first commandment is, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, I am Adonai your God.
Empieza el mandamiento con yo soy Adonai tu Dios.
And thus all of the commandments of you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart are found under those words, Anochi Adonai Elohecha.
Por eso siguen las otras palabras.
How do you ensure that you honor your father and your mother?
¿Cómo se puede asegurar que vas a honrar su madre y su padre?
How do you ensure that you do not murder?
¿Cómo te vas a asegurar que no vas a matar?
How do you ensure that you do not commit adultery?
Que no vas a adulterar?
How do you ensure that you do not bear false testimony?
ni que vas a dar falso testimonio.
It is all found in the final commandment.
Todos se encuentran en el último mandamiento.
You shall not covet.
No codiciarás.
All of these sins are found through covetousness.
Todos estos pecados se encuentran en codiciar.
The desire to pull in, to take, to maintain to myself.
Ese deseo de mantener para sí mismo.
So the guard against committing all of these other sins,
Así guardar contra estos otros pecados,
do not covet.
no codicies.
And so we will finish up the 10 Commandments with that one next week.
Así que la semana que viene vamos a discutir eso en detalle.
So with that we say brachot shalom v'chatzorayim tovim. Shalom, Shabbat shalom, good afternoon, and God bless you. Let's all stand for the blessing. If you would lift up your hands. Yivarecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Yer Adonai panev elecha v'yichunecha, Yisar Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May Adonai bless you and keep you. May Adonai shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May Adonai lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. From Tzadka Shalom Yeshua Mashiach, from the Prince of Peace, Yeshua the Messiah. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.